all the deductions must be managed at the local level. After all, if it is any impact at all, it's about educating people, creating the awareness, having the local leadership to take it on. And I believe they have done it. So if they have done it, I believe that for now the grassroots have been strengthened to handle its own programs. And so it should not be deducted as source. The money should be left and then it should be managed from the local level because they appreciate the program. They can draw the programs and then execute them.
Thomas Nketri is the presiding member of the Pandai District Assembly in the Northern Region. He's not happy about some source deductions from the District Assembly's Common Fund. The funds are deducted at source and paid to Zoomlion Ghana Limited to render sanitation services in all the 260 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in Ghana.
There's no use talking so much about something that has been contracted at the national level. Even if you talk, I believe the deductions will not stop. But I believe once it has got a point, a contract period, when the period elapses, the deductions must be stopped so that if it is planned at the district level, I think the impact can be felt so that they take access of the money, plan it, manage it, evaluate, monitor it, and I think it can have a better impact for us.
Zoomlion and its sister companies have multiple sanitation contracts with all the assemblies in the country, but almost all the 53 assemblies across the country which I visited as part of this investigation are not satisfied with the services. One such service is the fumigation contract being undertaken by Zoomlion Ghana Limited.
On the fumigation in particular, I believe the effect of it is not being seen. You know how our township is. In the rainy season and when the place becomes wet, there are a lot of stagnant bodies, water bodies in the system. I believe the impact was simply to see how they can sanitize the situation and then improve upon the environment. But to the best of my knowledge, it is not the best. It is not the best. And whether it is even working in the system so much, I can't tell. On a few occasions, I teach in the secondary school. I see them try to come around, especially at our incineration site, to spray. I know that a couple of times we have seen them at the assembly. But in whole, whether the impact of it is being felt in the district, I don't believe so.
What would you have loved to see that you have not seen?
In fact, I would have loved to see it more practicalized. I can't tell how the contract was made, but I believe that it should be centrally controlled or it should be decentralized, such that the assembly can have a source, contract its own people to undertake the fumigation. As it stands now, I believe the authority is coming from somewhere and they don't really appreciate have a good grasp of the situation in town here. Again, I also want to feel that it is more centralized in the district capital. There are worse situations in the hinterlands, but the impact of it is not being reached. So if everything was controlled and done at the district level, we could have equally touched most of our hinterlands, especially the far to rich communities.
The money for the fumigation contract is deducted from the Assembly's Common Fund before payments are made to them. In a year, each district assembly pays 161,000 cedis. The municipal assemblies pay 184,000 cedis each, while each metropolitan assembly pays 207,000 Ghana cedis for the fumigation or open spraying contract. There are 6 metropolitan assemblies, 55 municipal assemblies, and 155 district assemblies. In all, Zoomlion is paid 36.6 million cedis a year to undertake the spraying exercise in the assemblies.
I've always complained to them that considering the chunk of money that they take for that exercise, they are not doing enough.
Most of the district assemblies I visited say the fumigation by Zoom Lion is done once every 3 months.
Well, the fumigation is done quarterly, and then every quarter the officer in charge will call that today they are ready to come to Hunter West. That we should give them a number of sites. So normally we give them about 6 communities. They want 6. So we give them 6 communities, and within the 6 communities, an officer will go with them and show them all the refuse dams, all the latrine facilities, and some other areas that needs to be sprayed, and then they can go and do their work.
The Municipal Environmental Health Officer for Takwan Swayim in the Western Region, Emmanuel Kudos, says both the Assembly and Zoom Lion personnel carry out the fumigation in the municipality for which Zoom Lion is paid.
We work together. You see, they at first they have some areas that they go and work, but now we do it quarterly. They don't go alone again.
The district assemblies through the environmental health departments are supposed to supervise the fumigation exercise, but a number of the assemblies are not involved in it because they say Zoom Lion does not take instructions from them. All the environmental health officers I spoke to said they had not seen the contract and they do not know exactly what Zoom Lion is expected to do under the terms of the fumigation contract. Most of them do not even know the chemicals that are used by Zoom Lion for spraying.
Do you have any idea of the chemicals that they use?
No, I've ever seen one thing, but I can't remember the name.
Matthew Jakpamumuni is the Northern Regional Environmental Health and Sanitation Officer. His outfit oversees the spraying exercises in the region, but he does not know the chemicals Zoom Lion uses for the Assembly's fumigation.
I've never gone into find out how far. No.
You don't know what chemical they do?
I've not followed up for that.
And your district directors, you don't know? Is this not a matter of concern? To know exactly, because they say they are doing fumigation spraying and you don't know exactly what happens.
Frankly, the chemical that they are using, I've not gone in to look for that. But it's a concern that they need for us to know that. Okay, because if you really do other places fumigation, then they need to be looking at chemicals that are being used.
In many of the assemblies, the only active role officials play is to endorse the Zoom Lion reports for payment, but they cannot independently verify what Zoom Lion claims to have done.
As far as my involvement is concerned, I don't have a particular plan that I can speak to now. The only information I have is the reports they sometimes bring to our department for endorsement and pictures. Yeah, that's all.
But have you cited a copy of the contract, the fumigation contract between Zoom Lion and the Assemblies?
No, I have no idea of the contract.
The presiding member of the Laura District Assembly and Dean of Presiding Members of the Upper West Region, Stephen Bikpem, says the Laura District Assembly has been compelled to pass a resolution to order Zoom Lion to provide proof that it actually carries out the fumigation exercises for which it is paid.
And now the Assembly has directed the Secretariat, and for that matter the Environmental Service Division of the Assembly, to design a template and allow Zoom Lion, when they are providing the services at any institution, at any facility, in any house, the landlord, the facility head, or whatever it is, must have a portion to sign that on this day you came and provided this service. So that in the end, at the end of the month, yes, we are sure that the services has been provided before we pay.
Why did this issue come up in the first place?
That is why I'm saying that there has been a major concern that these services were inadequate.
According to environmental health officers in the Volta region, there is no value for money in the fumigation contract with Zoom Lion. Emmanuel Eduamwa again.
We usually go for our quarterly municipal and district environmental health officers meeting, and on that platform issues are raised about this fumigation, how it is done, and the rate at which it is done, and we see it that the chunk of money they are taking for this exercise is just too much.
Mr. Eduama wants the fumigation contract cancelled or the cost reduced.
If you look at the work that they do, I think the amount of money that is involved quarterly is just too high, and I think that should be cut down.
I've never seen such a contract. Perhaps it was signed before our coming in. That one I can't tell. But we have not sanctioned it. As of now, we have not sanctioned such a thing. Even there are some areas that we are saying that the deductions must be terminated.
Like?
A good example I gave you was about the grader issue. And so, equally, the fumigation exercise, if we're really involved, members will not have even agreed. Because the impact of it is not felt in the districts.
This fumigation like this, which is not forthcoming, I would have wished that it stopped. It stopped because I can't recollect and I can't even see the time that this exercise has been carried out. I can't recollect.
Zoomlion has declined to comment on the issues raised by the assemblies, but the MMDAs fumigation contract is only one part of the story of what appears like a deliberate scheme by Zoomlion and some government officials to defraud the state in the name of fumigation or disinfestation. Joy News has discovered that Zoomlion has another fumigation contract at the assembly level, which is paid through the Ministry of Health. This contract is called the Nationwide Mosquito Control Program, NAMCOP, and assemblies are supposed to supervise and endorse the reports for payment. This contract has been running since 2009, but the assemblies I visited this year had either not heard about NAMCOP or they could not tell the difference between NAMCOP and the one paid for by the assemblies common fund.
They are only mentioning to me that they've been spraying some drains, but I don't know whether they are doing this under a particular program, as you are mentioning.
There are some deductions from the Assemblies Common Fund for fumigation. And we also have NAMCOP, which is the Nationwide Mosquito Control Program. And they are also with Zoomlion in the various assemblies. So what I want to know is that in the Takwan Swahim municipality, do you have two separate fumigations or it is one fumigation from Zoomlion?
It is one fumigation from Zoomlion. We don't have the separate one. We have one fumigation, which we do it in collaboration. Yes.
In the Hunter West District, the story is the same. Owusu Sechre is the District Environmental Health Officer here.
I know they have NAMCOP and they also have the fumigation for the assemblies. In your district, do they do two separate fumigations or it is one fumigation that is done a quarter?
As far as I know, we do one fumigation per quarter. If there's anything they do with the Ministry of Health or Ghana Health Service, that one we don't have now. But whatever they do with us, from whatever report I put up, it is for one fumigation per the quarter that we do.
And which group within Zoomlion does this?
How do you call them? Well, the NAMCOP, yeah, probably the NAMCOP, but the officer will come from Takoradi.
Are you able to differentiate between the NAMCOP and the Zoomlion fumigation, which is deducted from the assemblies?
The NAMCOP is part of the Zoomlion, but if there's a second deduction, that much I don't know.
So it's the same spraying they do?
The same spraying, yes. We inculcate it all in one package.
So how are you able to differentiate the NAMCOP from the fumigation package for the assemblies?
Well, I can't differentiate it because it's the same. We all work towards the same, and they are the very people that we use to do the fumigation.
The immediate past DC of Bongo, Alexis Ayamdo, says he does not know of any other government-sponsored spraying or fumigation exercise in the district, apart from the MMDAs fumigation.
What we know of the NAMCOP had to do with the an NGO that implemented that project in terms of malaria spraying in the Bongo district, which eventually ended somewhere along the line last year or so, and they have since not returned it.
How long did they do this?
They did it practically for 4 years. I think 4 years. I came to meet the program.
I'm told it's powered by Anglo Gold Ashanti also.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Anglo Gold Ashanti shop sponsored it. Yes, I remember. Yeah.
And how effective was it?
Indeed, it brought down the incidence of malaria-related illness in the district a bit quite down. I cannot immediately pinpoint the fingers, but I'm sure if we talk to the district authorities, the health authorities, they should be able to give us an indication. Indeed, it was quite effective, and the incidence of malaria in the district, actually slowed down.
According to him, the only fumigation exercise that has made an impact in the Bongo district is the one carried out by Anglo Gold Ashanti Malaria Control Program.
Being made a trick, but of course, this needs to continue subsequently. Unfortunately, somewhere along the line, the project would have to end here.
I'm asking this because Zoom Lion also is doing the same spraying, and if you had this NGO spraying for 4 years and Zoom Lion was also taking money for the same period doing fumigation, I don't know whether you've had any report which showed whether the Zoom Lion or these people were more visible on the ground.
No, the visibility, the Anglo Gold, Ashanti-led projects, they were quite visible. I can say that besides the reduction in terms of malaria-related cases, some of our youths had opportunity to get employment, and within that short period of time, some people's lives were improved. At least they got some income, to augment what they were doing. So that, for me, I can authoritatively say that they were quite visible, and we had interacted. We had their quarterly review meetings, which I was invited to participate. But aside these malaria-related program that I've talked about, led by this NGO, I cannot think of any clear, visible, activity that were done in terms of spraying of malaria at the same time, in the district. That would have been a bit more duplicated. And besides that has not come to my attention at all.
Zoom Lion spraying?
Absolutely, yeah, sure.
The assemblies are supposed to endorse Zoom Lion's reports on the 2 spraying exercises before they present them for payment. A district environmental health officer who spoke on condition of anonymity said even though he signs the 2 pieces of paper, he does not know Zoom Lion presents them to 2 different ministries for separate payments. On the MMDAs fumigation form, there is a column for the chemicals used for the spraying, but on the NAMCO form, there is no column for the chemicals used. This seems to confirm the assertions by the assemblies that there are no 2 separate spraying exercises.
Now, fumigation is that is the NAMCO group that is in charge of fumigation by the Zoom Lion sector.
So how different is this from the contract they have signed and they make deductions from Zoom Lion? Because I know NAMCOP is a separate project, a separate contract, I think with the Ministry of Health that they take money to do. So how different is this from the ones they take from the assembly level?
Yeah, I know of NAMCOP to be from the Zoom Lion sector. But as to whether some belong to the Ministry of Health, I'm not aware. I don't know whether some belong to the Ministry of Health. I know that NAMCOP is a group that is from Zoom Lion, and they signed that contract with the Municipal Assembly.
So when you see any fumigation being done by NAMCOP, your conclusion or what you know is that they are implementing the contract with the assemblies?
Yes, exactly. They are exercising the contract that they've signed with the assemblies and nowhere else.
Some coordinating directors of the assembly have said decisions concerning Zoom Lion's contracts are political, and though many of them have reservations, they have to comply. Thomas Nketri says Zoom Lion is too powerful to be opposed at the district level.
Zoom Lion as a whole, I believe, is not even controlled by the government. So if the central government cannot control Zoom Lion at the national level, how can the district assembly control them locally? So I believe that they have their own system of running their administration. But I believe by and large, there's the need for us to collaborate and dialogue over issue. But for the assembly to take complete control of them, I really doubt it. Because the assembly is not their employer. As such, they cannot control them.
But the money they use comes from you?
Exactly. And so that is why there's a need for a kind of strong dialogue. So that if there's any problem, the assembly will have a way of channeling it. So if the assembly, on the other hand, were running such problems, then it will have complete control over the employees. That is where the challenge is coming from. The assemblies think this is our priority. Zoom Lion, on the other hand, is thinking that this is our mandate. So there's a conflict between a priority and a mandate.
Sources at the Ministry of Health have confirmed that Zoom Lion was subcontracted by the Cuban medical group Labiopharm, which won a contract from the ministry to undertake mosquito spraying exercises in the Ashanti, Bono Ahafo and the Greater Accra regions. This is the third fumigation or spraying program involving Zoom Lion. Various reports of the Auditor General on the District Assembly's Common Fund have listed many instances and districts where monies were deducted for fumigation and paid to Zoom Lion, but the services were not rendered. The Auditor General in most cases ordered the retrieval of those monies, but those orders have not been obeyed. While questions about the propriety of these fumigation contracts are still to be resolved, Joy News has discovered that a 98 million cedi contract was awarded in 2015 to 11 companies through single-source procurement to undertake a spraying exercise to stop the spread of cholera in the regions. These are the companies, the regions they were to undertake the spraying exercise, and the contract sums.
Savannah Waste Services Limited, Northern Region, 7,254,000. Coastal Waste Management Services Limited, Central Region, 7,653,000. Ashanti Waste and Environmental Services Limited, Ashanti Region, 14,485,000. BA Waste and Allied Services Limited, Bono Ahafo Region, 9,370,000. Western Waste and Environmental Services Limited, Western Region, 11,697,000. Volta Waste Limited, Volta Region, 6,455,000. ABL Environmental Engineering Limited, Eastern Region, 9,437,000. Upper East Waste and Environmental Services Limited, Upper East, 4,971,000. KS Biosanitation Limited, Upper West, 4,762,000. Meridian Waste Management Services, Temazone, 6,922,000. And Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, 15,005,000 cedis.
The total cost of this contract is 98,016,000 cedis, and the spraying was for a period of only 20 days. Joy News investigation has revealed a number of irregularities with this contract. All the districts and towns selected for this 98 million cedis contract were already covered by multiple spraying contracts which were undertaken by Zoom Lion. The assemblies paid for the same service at the time the ministry also paid Zoom Lion and its sister companies to execute the 98 million cedis contract. The question therefore is, why would the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development award a fumigation contract to spray toilets, dumping sites and other public places when all the 216 assemblies under the ministry were already paying Zoom Lion for the same services? The ministry has failed to answer or respond to our letter requesting information on this story. Collins Dowda, who supervised the signing of this contract at the time, has also declined to comment on the matter. The Jospon Group has refused to cooperate with our investigation, but we discovered more anomalies with this contract. Information available at the Registrar General's Department reveals 7 out of the 11 companies were registered on the same day, 29th August 2014, less than a year they won the contracts. 8 of those 11 companies have the same shareholder, Zoomlion Ghana Limited. The shareholder for Zoomlion Ghana Limited is Joseph Siao Ejapon. All the 11 companies which were handpicked for this contract belong to the Jospon Group, owned by Joseph Siao Ejapon. This raises procurement questions, according to the president of the Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply, Collins Sapon.
I'm coming from professional side and business side. That Collins, I will form a company. Company 1, I supply shoes. Company 2, I supply shoes. Company 3, I supply shoes. Company 4, I supply shoes. Up to 11. Maybe company 1, I'll do shoes. Maybe company 2, I'll do ties. Maybe company 3, I'll do suits. Are you getting the point? So, unless, I don't know, that you have 11 companies and they are all doing the same work, unless we call it branches. And if they are branches, then the lead, the mother company should be the one. I hope you are getting. It should be the one. You can have branches in so many places. That one, they are branches of a particular business. But if they are autonomous on their own and they are delivering the same product, it calls for consent.
Another issue with this contract is that the government officials were supposed to have supervised this contract at the assembly level say they did not know about the contract and cannot point to any period it was delivered. Some say they have not heard about the names of those companies who won the contracts in their areas. Savannah Waste Services Limited was paid 7.2 million cedis to undertake spraying in 7 towns in the northern region. But the Northern Regional Environmental Health Officer, Matthew Mumuni Japa, says he has not heard about the name of that company before.
This company is Savannah Waste Management Services. Have you ever heard of them?
Savannah Waste Management Services. No.
Meridian Waste Services Limited was awarded 6.9 million cedis to undertake the spraying services in the Tema zone. But the Tema Metropolitan Director of Waste Management, Solomon Noy, says he has never heard about Meridian Waste Management Services Limited. Tema Metropolitan Environmental Health Director, Wisdom Adiche, has also not heard about the company.
No, I have not heard of it since I came. I was here in 2014, April. So, but I was in Waste Management Department. I have not heard of Meridian Company doing any work.
Meridian Waste was awarded this contract in June 2015. Records at the Registrar General's Department, however, revealed that the company was registered on 30th September and was given the certificate to start business on October 1st, 2015. This means the company did not exist at the time it was awarded the contract. On 9th June 2015, when the Chief Director of the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Charles Dondia, wrote to the 11 companies notifying them of the award of the contract, he gave them conditions to be fulfilled before the contract was signed. On the same day, the Sector Minister, Collins Dauda, wrote to the Finance Minister requesting the release of full payment to the companies. In that letter, the minister stated that the work had already started. This suggests that the companies received the notification on the 9th of June, fulfilled all the requirements on the same day, signed the contract on the same day, and started the work on the same day before the minister wrote that letter asking for the funds. Joy News investigation, however, reveals otherwise, and it appears the minister's claim that work had already started by the 9th of June was false. The companies wrote the acceptance letter on the 11th of June, and the contract was awarded on the 18th of June. The work was supposed to commence 7 days after the signing of the contract. According to the contract, a lump sum payment was to be made after 100% of the work had been executed. It is therefore strange why Collins Dauda claims Work had already started when the companies had not written their letters of acceptance and signed the contract. Joy News could not find any evidence of work done, and officials of assemblies across the country, where the work was supposed to have been carried out, did not know about the contract, and in some cases, had not heard about the names of the companies involved. This is just one of the many problematic contracts with Zoomlion and the Josbon Group, which the assemblies are grappling with. For Joy News, Manasseh Azure Awuni reporting.